All right, and TVC, we're at it again. We're #1 in election coverage in Africa. About 1.3 million registered voters out of a population of more than 3 million Osun State residents, and the 48 governorship candidates are all anxiously waiting for Saturday, September 22nd.
Osun will be the center of focus as they make a crucial decision on that day. But how prepared is the Independent National Electoral Commission for the conduct of the poll? We have our senior political correspondent, Ayodele Ozungbaku, standing by with guests, of course, to tell us what is happening in Osun. Hello, Ayo. Good morning. Over to you now.
Good morning, Azizat, and good morning, Mike.
Morning, Ayo.
Yes, good morning to you.
We are just counting down. Today is the last day for campaigns, and by 12 midnight today, it's going to be over for anything campaign. Tomorrow will be the day for INEC, electoral observers, accreditation of journalists, security people, manage their strategic locations across the 30 local government area. I have my guest today. We always do it together anytime there's election. He was with us in Anambra State. He was with us in Ekiti State. And Ezewago of Watching the Votes is also with us today in Osun State. And he's also of Yaga Africa. Ezewago, nice to have you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Well, what's different from what INEC has been doing? Any improvements, any advancement for what we had in Ekiti State?
I'm always, concerned when we place a lot of searchlights during elections on INEC's preparedness. The different stakeholders who make a successful election, we need to also look at what they're doing and see how much they are prepared to give a clean election. The REC has a bragging right. Is a bragging right. When he did this in 2014, he said he recorded 96% of opening polls.
That's Mr. Shegun
Agbaje, yes, that he recorded 96, and this time around he's not going to go any lesser. So in terms of preparation, I think there are 14 items in the calendar for Osun election. 13 has been ticked. 13 has been ticked off.
98% already.
Yes, so really we're looking forward to the election. By 8:30 this morning, the information we have, our Watching the Vote team will be joining INEC at the CBN for the distribution of materials. By this morning, the materials will be
sensitive
materials will be leaving Central Bank to move to the different areas. And later in the afternoon, we also will be going to the different local governments to find out whether those materials have. And you know that in Ekiti, one innovation was the tracking of distribution through an app where INEC was able to find out where his materials are at every given time. So we expect nothing less in this election. We want to see that.
So they track it.
Yes.
These sensitive materials, as it's going to 30 local governments.
There is a tracking mechanism.
If there's any diversion.
Yes. So we're interested in the punctuality index. How much we're keeping on that. How much we've dealt with logistic challenges. All of that we'll have to see on Saturday. But in terms of stakeholder engagement, INEC has dotted the I's and crossed most of the T's. Engagement, like you said, the media accreditation, observers are everywhere, and all of that. But we need to also begin to look at, the number of polling units, and also what it means to have voting points. Because voting points are like polling units, behave like polling units, but do not have the level of oversight that polling units have. What do I mean by that? If you have 3,010 polling units in the state, but you have several other voting points. What that means is that the law recognizes that party agents will be in 3,010 polling units, but does not give the power for them to be in those voting points.
Big contradiction.
So as election stakeholders, we need to start a conversation around how we legitimize, how we legalize those voting points. We are running away from it, we are shying away from it as a people, but it causes oversight issues. It reduces the integrity quotient of elections because the level of oversight by party agents, by civil society organizations for those voting points is becoming challenging. And those are some of the areas that we need to look at going forward. Because INEC is improving in almost every area. In terms of logistics, we saw very, very significant improvement in Ekiti. We saw significant improvements in Anambra. We hope that in terms of punctuality, in terms of
the exercise fees for 8 a.m.
we want to see that and all of that. And then generally, the engagement, the level of engagement with stakeholders has also increased. We're seeing Mr. Agbaje almost engaging at every level, attending, civil society functions, going to the media.
Level of transparency and quite impressive.
And you can see him. The way he carries himself is infectious. I just hope that all of that translates into the kind of election that the people of Osun will be proud of on Saturday.
Now, looking at the controversy surrounding the use of phone around polling units or outside polling units, the People's Democratic Party and some other stakeholders, they've accused INEC of a kind of attempt to stop them from monitoring the exercise. Can we distinguish what INEC is saying and what is the cause of this controversy?
You see, in the period of election, you are going to see half-truths, propaganda, twisted logic, outright lies. Those are some of the things that will characterize an election season. But in all of that, our responsibility as civil society and media is to continue to beam out what the real issues are. Now, this was triggered in an event that we organized in Abuja, where we launched duly a report on vote buying, duly elected or duly purchased. That was what we titled it. And the INEC chairman, in responding to the issue of vote buying, made it clear that, look, people should not go into the cubicle with their phones. The voting cubicle, at most you spend 3 minutes inside the voting cubicle.
You pick up your ballot paper and go into that cubicle.
The truth is that voting takes place in communities. Yes. You register where you vote, which means that in that place where you are voting, you know people, you live together in that environment. So it's just a simple matter as saying, AY, please hold my phone, let me do this and come on. No, but if you want to video the place, you can video, but please do not take your phone into the voting cubicle. And it is an international best practice. It is something in other jurisdictions, in other climes, you don't go to the polling, not even the cubicle. You don't go to the polling area with our trust threshold is low. And remember, as a people, we fight everything. There is nothing we don't fight. When the PVC smart card reader came, we fought it until it has gotten to a point now where people are the same people who were fighting smart card reader are now saying no smart card reader, no voting. We will need to insist that to sanitize this election, to have a clean election, there is a need for voters. We will need to insist that to sanitize this election, to have a clean election, there is a need for voters to make that sacrifice. And I think that is what INEC is saying. And as an organization, as Yaga Africa watching the vote, we are supporting INEC in that, because the truth is that vote buying diminishes our election. Vote buying delegitimizes the successes that we are making. We are telling the world that our election...
The issue of phone, taking phone to the voting points and vote buying.
See, you incidentally you were in Ekiti and in other places. What happens is that there is a transmitter, a human transmitter stands somewhere, who you need to authenticate that you voted for them, who now tells you to go to the buyer, to the person who will pay. So most times, to authenticate that you voted for that party, people take in their phone, quickly snap where the party they voted for, and then take it to go. And everybody knows this to be true. We cannot allow politicians to direct the narrative of whether we will have a credible election or not. Those of us who work in the area of election must insist that the right thing will be done. And sometimes we know that our response to the issue of vote buying may not be adequate, but something at least is being done to engage that menace.
Ultimately, when you look at, Mr. Agbaje said it yesterday that he's going to fight vote buying, that they're going to make sure that the menace of vote buying is combated. And you know, politicians are smart. They can devise new ways. Ultimately, how can we stop this worrisome trend?
My quick sense is that, yes, there are prescriptive, we could get into the prescriptive issues about sanctions, about law and all that. But ultimately, the challenge is that of engagement. The people will have to know the connection between voting, legitimacy of the person they voted into power, and eventually what comes to them. You see, the gratification, because we're explaining it away. Oh, the people are poor. No doubt about that. Leadership in the country has not been what a lot of people expect. There's a lot of poverty. There's a lot of issues around it. But the quick and immediate gratification that a 2,000 naira, that a 3,000 naira gives you, deprives you of a long-term and extends your suffering, really. Because if you have taken the 3,000 and prepared a pot of soup, as they say, and you finish eating the pot of soup, then you are confronted with the issue of maternal mortality. The dispensary, the health facility in your area, somebody has taken the resources for it and put it in his pocket and gave you some part of it as 3,000 naira. So when your wife is pregnant in the middle of the night and you need to access a health facility close to you, that is not available many times. So we have the highest level of mortality rate, and that is a failure of governance. So part of it is that we are sharing in that failure by compromising our ability to even say, look, please keep your money. We want something more. And let me tell you, Ayo, what we need to do is to begin to think in terms of community charter, in terms of where community comes together and say, look, this is for the politician. We know you have this money, but our need is not to cook a pot of soup. Our need as a community is, please do this for us, and then you can track. Now, the arrogance of people in power in Nigeria stems from the fact that they bought your votes. You really do not have any, you can't confront them on any issue. And that is why you see somebody who is elected, instead of being a servant leader, becomes the boss. Because in truth, you really have nothing to tell him or her.
Counting down on election day, post-election day, between the political parties, finally now, the campaigns and everything you've seen so far, is there areas that we can look at flashpoints, or areas that you feel that political parties, 48 candidates are featuring in this election, so area that you think the security police should watch out for?
Well, you see, I think that we already have risk. The police have done their risk assessment. So our partner Clean Foundation also has put out, areas. But more importantly is to appeal to the people of Osun. And relatively speaking, if you were in Ekiti and you are here, you'll see that the peace that you see, the manner in which the people of Osun, at least in Osogbo where we are today, in terms of even how they engage traffic lights, shows you a more orderly, a more organized.
Look at the billboards.
A more civil.
You hardly find any billboard defaced.
No, in some places in the localities they are defacing.
Okay.
They are defacing billboards. They are defacing people's posters and all of that. Our pre-election report, watching the vote, shows that very clearly that there are pockets of threats, but it is not what what you see in many of the elections that we observe. And we want the people of Osun to keep up that tempo. In fact, the way we've seen it, I even saw yesterday political parties campaigning almost side by side, and there are
level of political maturity.
I hope that they are able to maintain that up to the election and come out as creditably. But beyond all of that, there is also potential for crisis. We do not need to take this lightly that, oh, there is peace in the surface. But I know that politicians being who they are, we need to continue to tell our people that this election does not want anybody's blood. In clear terms, we must make that clear, send out message unequivocally that Saturday will come, the election will hold, and we have seen it hold in other places. If you were in Ekiti, if you were in Edo, it was like, look, it was Armageddon. Ayo, did you get an insurance before going to Ekiti? Did you get? But we are all here. Somebody will be sworn in Ekiti in the next few days. Those who got hurt, they've moved on with their lives. The man will become governor. He may deliver for them. He may not deliver for them. But life continues. So it's important that that message goes out very strongly. Yeah.
Wagu. Thank you, and I believe we do this again tomorrow as we count down to the election. It's going to be 24 hours to the election. Let's look at the progress INEC will make today and all the stakeholders, and we'll come and review it tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Wagu is of the Watching the Votes and Yaga Africa. I'll take this quick break. When we come back, I have the candidate of the Accord Party here with me. Please stay with us. It's still Breakfast Show, reaching you live from Osun State, Osogbo.
All right, Ayo, thank you so much. We'll certainly come back to you shortly. Yeah. Now, if you read and make calculations between 2014, when the last election held, and now, you see that people are a little more enlightened with the number of more PVCs, with the number of registration people who want to participate in the system, and the number of candidates vying for elective posts in Osun State as well. Okay,
yeah, absolutely. And things have changed since then, 2015, changed since then, maturity. And, you know, the guest was talking about political maturity, you know, political endurance. The fact that you belong to one party and I belong to another political party, that doesn't make us enemies. We should be, you know, civil in the way we do things, because at the end of the day, it's all about the people and not about you. Elections will come and go.
Well, Osun State is a little different from Ekiti, but certainly we know that when it comes to INEC on the other hand is saying we're going back to the drawing board to ensure that some of the things that happened in Ekiti will not happen again, especially in the area of vote buying.
Vote buying, absolutely, absolutely, and that seems to be the key now. It will be another test as we inch closer to 2019 in general election.
It feels like going to the lab.
Because I don't want to say litmus test, because we saw Ekiti, we thought it was going to be the litmus test. That's what I'm saying, another test. Let's just see if we're going to pass this test as we move closer to 2019.
Well, the point there is, when it comes to getting it or perfecting the system, not just one soup or one exercise can perfect the system.
Absolutely, but that was what we thought 4 years ago, that it was going to be perfected by the time we got to 2018, when you know, pockets of elections will be held. But yes. So far, no.
But I think on the other hand, INEC is making incremental improvement. On one hand, if you listen, yeah, exactly. If you look at in 2015, when the card readers were introduced and were used, we all applauded.
Yeah.
Now INEC has gone further now to be able to track all its materials anywhere they are. So it's an incremental improvement. So we hope
an electronic display of
results. So we hope that by the next election in 2023, there should be more and more improvement. And these are the things Nigerians are looking forward to.
So many hopes.
So it's not just about a one-off thing, it's a continuous thing. All right, in the meantime, TVC News will be live in Osun State today for a riveting governorship debate. We've been saying that, and certainly you have to still know what is going on.
Just get your popcorn, because 5 of the leading candidates will be on stage again to talk about their plans for the people of Osun, but this time around on our platform. So if you can't watch the debate on TV, well, no problem. You can join the millions who will be doing so live on our online platforms. We will be live vlogging on tvcnews.tv.u, and you can also watch the live video on our website. On Facebook, it's at TVC News NG. Just log in there and follow us to follow the trends. On YouTube as well, it's TVC News Nigeria. You watch videos live and stream there as well. You can also follow us on all our social media platforms, and even on Twitter using the handle at TVC News NG. And the hashtag of the day will be Osun Debate.
Yeah, all that is displayed on your screen. You can see there. So be part of it. 6 p.m. today is the time, and it's the D time. It's the D day today. So we look forward to all of D time.
Today, Thursday, D time is 6 p.m.
It's the last of the debates, and certainly you'll get to hear from all the aspirants or the candidates at this time what they have for Osun people. and they'll be having the opportunity to ask all the questions as to what they want to know from their leaders. We'll be going back to Ayodele Ozugmaku now. He has someone to speak with, the candidate for Accord Party. Let's get to hear from other people also what they have for the people there. Ayo, it's back to you now.
Yes, Mike, Ngozi Alebu will be standing by with 5 of those candidates this evening at the Woodif Center. And I'm sure you are not missing Ngozi.
We certainly, well, I have Abel Azizat here. So, you know, I'm an African man.
I'm holding the telephone.
Take it away.
So, join us around 6 p.m. today for that debate. But what we did in TVC is that we have 48 candidates, and as much as possible, we've decided to give everybody a say. So those who are not going to participate in that debate, they will be speaking to us on our news and programs for the rest of the day. I have one of them. He's from the Accord Party. That's Accord Party, Pastor Bade Okwande. Okwala. Nice to have you.
Thank you so much, sir. Good morning.
How do you intend to compete on Saturday with the seeming giants? Talk about the People's Democratic Party, the All Progressive Congress. They have the war chest. They have some states and some governors. They've been in town. Yesterday was a mega rally of the PDP. We had the Senate president, former Senate president, and everybody. They came. It was quite intimidating. The day before yesterday, we had the president with 13 governors, and Accord Party in the midst of this, seeming dominance of these 2 big parties. How do you intend to pull it off on Saturday?
Well, by the grace of God, by the time we hear the results of the election, many of us will be shocked, because what we've been doing, we've been going to house, doing grassroots campaigning, and we've covered the state, and it's the masses that we vote. All the so-called giants, as you have mentioned them, they have been in power for years. People are still complaining. That means there's a need, there's a vacuum somewhere, and the people of Osun State are looking for someone to create an alternative, an option for them. And if you look at all the political parties that we have right now, the giants is like 2 parties, either PDP or APC. If you look at their antecedents, it's the PDP for years, moved to APC. So it's the same party we are circulating, but under different names.
Some of the same.
The same personality, just under the same. So it's the same thing they are telling the same people. It's the same thing that we do. People in Osun State, they are tired of the so-called giants. They want a new platform and they want a new candidate. And that is what we are preaching to people, that there's a way out, a better alternative out for the electorate. And that's one thing our electorates have lacked in the last couple of years. No alternative. And I thank God that people like us are here and other candidates are there so that people can have their choice. And I think this is the best time for Osun State, for Osun people to decide whether they want to go to the old system or they want to go a new way.
Do you have the structure across the local government, the manpower, the people that will man all the polling units for you, and your presence in all the wards across the states?
Yes, I can tell you we have. Accord Party is in all the 30 local government with one area office, 31, all local governments.
One area office, Modakeke?
Modakeke, yes. And we are there and we are prepared for this election.
Now, when you want to see we were talking about when you want to see we were talking about vote buying earlier, and most of these big political parties, they seem to have the war chest at every budget to actually induce voters. I don't know, maybe Accord Party has done it in the past, giving money to people, because most people, they wouldn't mind you parting with money to get your vote.
Thank you for that question. First of all, let me tell you, I'm a pastor. And if there's anything I want at the end of my journey on this earth is to make heaven. I will not, and let me repeat, I will not induce, I will not bribe anyone to vote for me. I did it when during our delegates, during our primaries. No, I did not bribe a single delegate, 1 naira, and I was voted in. I told them, It's against my belief. I will not bribe, and I will not bribe. If I don't bribe you for you to vote for me as a candidate, I will have bribed a voter. It's not possible. I will not bribe anybody.
You tend to emerge ultimately as the
by
governor
the grace of God,
without,
people are tired.
Giving anybody anything.
I will not give. We don't even give rice. We didn't even give anything. It's just we are just telling them this is my product. This is what I want to do for the people of Osun State. Vote for me. And people are ready to listen to my message because they are tired. They have been giving them money, inducing them. Unfortunately, those that are supposed to do what? To enforce the law are the ones that have been using them. You see, so I cannot join that. I'm here to make a change. And I started the change with myself during the primaries. I said, I will preach my message. If I didn't win this time around, I will come back and continue to preach the message. But thank God, I won the message. And that's what gives me confidence that without giving any voters any money, we will still win this election.
Beyond being a pastor, what have you done before? Your track record, your antecedents, what have you done to think that you want to rule the whole of Osun State beyond your church, being a pastor of your church?
Yeah, beyond my church being a pastor, I've worked in the private sector. I've worked in the public services before I started my own business, Onward Shipping and Clearance Services. I have a New Hope Healthcare Services, and at the same time, I'm a farmer. I have 150 acres of land in Ila.
Do you employ people?
I have employed more than 200 people that I paid, and I paid their salary on time. Because where I'm coming from is illegal for an employer not to pay workers. It's illegal. So that's why I'm coming to this race. As the governor of this state, I will make sure I pay salary on time because I will work with the House of Assembly to make non-payment of salary illegal for any employer.
Despite the fact if there's any shortfall from funds from the IGR or from Federation account to you, or you have to service burden, how are you going to manufacture money? Where are you going to get money to pay? The reality on ground is that Osun State is very broke. They're paying debts, and what they get as IGR is meager. Where do you intend to pay on time? How do you intend to pay on time?
It's about priority. Salary is a project to me. Why? Because how do you expect someone that worked for 30 days in the month and go home without getting paid? How do you expect him to get back to work? How do you expect him to feed his family?
What percentage of civil servants do you have in Osun State? So you are going to be a governor for the civil servants alone. You get your internal revenue generation, or you just use it to pay salary, and that's what you do as a governor.
Let me tell you,
health sector, education, road,
there
infrastructure.
is enough money to go around. If I tell you what I will do, first of all, there are a lot of abuses.
How much is Osun State's IGR presently?
It's about 1.9 billion.
1.9 billion when? Is it monthly or yearly?
Monthly.
Osun State gets 1.9 billion monthly.
If I'm not mistaken.
I think you must be mistaken.
Yes.
Anyway, what comes from Abuja? How much do they get from Abuja?
About 6-point-something billion.
6-point-something billion.
Yes.
How much do they use to service their debts? How much are they owing?
No one knows the actual figure, what they owe right now. But the issue,
you want to become the governor.
Yes.
And if you promise people you want to pay salary, you want to do everything, you must be able to analyze this.
Let me tell you how I will generate the income. I already know. Nobody knows the actual amount that is owed at present. Number one, they say it's about 300 billion.
It's a responsibility to go to the debt management office to get this information.
This is information that they will not give to you. I will not lie to you. I've tried it. You see, when politics is around, they play a different kind of game. This is how we raise my money to pay all this debt. First of all, the debt will be restructured. After the debt being restructured, we go ahead and check all abuses in government expenses. Thirdly, my government will involve in export. We have products we can export to earn cash, hard currency. This will complement what the Osun State government generates to produce, to service all this debt. And most of this debt, we can restructure them. You see, in anywhere you go, you talk to the court of law concerning your debt, they will allow you to pay what you can afford at any time. So it's after we take out the salary that needs to be paid every month, whatever is left to service all the recurrent expenses, whatever is left that we can pay is what we sit down with our creditors and lenders. This is what we can pay every month. That it will not affect the salary of the people and will not affect the pensioners' entitlement. Because we are to take care of our people. If no matter what kind of infrastructure you have in the state.
The government of the day has not done enough in terms of doing that.
I'm not saying the government have not done enough.
No, I'm just asking.
Yes, we see roads that are constructed on the high road, but if you look at the internal roads, they are not well maintained. And there are other roads, all the roads that link to Osun State, they are not well maintained. We will still maintain that, we still do that. But thank God for what they have done. We can still continue and we can do better for the infrastructure facilities.
Ultimately, on Saturday, what do you expect from the electorate?
What I expect from the electorate is that they need to sit down, assess the program, the manifesto of each party and of each candidate. Let them vote on that. And don't let them vote based on how much they are using to induce them.
I want to wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
And I hope to celebrate with you ultimately.
Thank you.
And Pastor Pade Okola.
Pastor
Pade Okola is of the Accord Party, and as we're counting down to the 2018 governorship election here in the state of Osun. Over to you, Mike and Azizat in Lagos.
All right. Thank you so much, Ayo, for all the updates there. We wish all the political parties, all the candidates, we wish them well.